Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about this interesting concept. And I'm going to title this video something along the lines of like the last one left. Because it's a concept I've thought about, I've seen it in movies and stuff, and I think it's interesting. So, what I mean by the last one left is I have seen several movies. I think there's this movie called AI. It's from like the 1990s, but it's about this like artificially intelligent child. And so it's just this little child that these parents sort of adopt. And he's artificially intelligent, but he's also immortal. So he lives forever. And it basically, the whole movie like tracks his experience and how he comes to understand the world. And basically like 3,000 years in the future, like he's still there and he has these memories of the people in his life and his mother, and he's the last one left. And so that's probably the first time I thought of this concept, but it's sort of expanded, and I think about it a lot because I don't know, it's interesting. So usually when I think of it in terms of like maybe one day I will be the last one left of like my generation or my friend group or my family. I've had friends like pass away, and so there's only a few of us left in the friend group, which is kind of weird, of this particular friend group that I'm very close with. There's only a few of us left, and it's very strange to be a part of a group that many of its members have died or disappeared or gone. I was with this friend group over the weekend on my vacation, and I don't know, it's really lovely. Like I love these people so much, and they are my family. Like I consider them like my closest inner circle. Um, and it's weird because we talk about the people who are no longer with us, and we talk about like the things we used to do with them and the jokes and the inside, running gags, and um it's interesting, and it's very sobering, and you sort of like you think about it a lot, and especially when I'm with my friends. um it's weird because I mean we had, when we were like a full friend group, and we still are a full friend group, but when we were all there, we would joke about like playing certain music at each other's funerals, and um what we would do with each other, like I'm gonna teach your kids all the crazy things you did at, in university. And um it's just strange, and it makes me think like who will be the last one left of our friend group. Maybe something tragic happens in the next 5 years and none of us are there, but statistically one of us will probably get into our late 80s or 90s, and that'll be really weird because some of us won't be there. Some of us already aren't there. So the idea of being the last one left is, I don't know, it's this double-edged sword where it's kind of sweet that you've survived and you're carrying on these memories. I think of that movie Coco, where the grandmother is like thinking about, her ancestors and her relatives, and she's the last one left of that generation. And I think about it like, will I be the last one left, or will I be like the distant memory? And I've always been very close with my grandparents, and two of them are still here. Two of them are no longer with us. And it's interesting because like my grandparents and I had very deep conversations about life and death, and where the future was expected to go. And now they're all gone, and I used to hang out a lot with my grandparents and their best friends. And there's of these like 7 or 8 people, there's only 2 of them left, and they both live in England. They're both in their late 80s, early 90s. And I just think like, what is their perspective? What do they think about being the last ones left? um it's a concept that is really hard to wrap your head around as a human, especially because like we all have to deal with loss and the loss of people we love, but you never really think about the ones left behind. And I don't know, the situation is always different. Like you might meet new friends, and new people in your family get born, like you have younger members of your family that fill space, but you always remember sort of the space that these people had. My great grandmother was the last of her generation, and she was around until I was like 8 or 9 years old. And I remember like listening to stories of her talking about family and friends and people who lived like 100 years ago, you know, like a very long time. My grandmother was my great grandmother was an old lady, but she was so cool. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Is this a concept you guys have ever thought of? Like, will you be the last one? Are you sure you're not gonna be the last one? Like, you know, you're not gonna be the one to turn the lights out at the end of the party. Um, I really don't know what my perspective is on it. I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, no, no, I want to be 104 years old and, you know, surrounded by grandkids and, you know, have this big family and, you know, feel close to everybody. And then the other part of me is like, no, no, like I'm good. I live life like every day is my last, and I do not mind if, you know, I disappear or whatever. So I don't know. I guess, yeah. Okay. The main question I want to know is this a concept you guys have ever thought about, being the last one? Um, and do you have experience being the last one? Um, because I think we all have some kind of like cursory experience, you know. I think of my core family, my brother and my parents, and I'm like, one of us will be the last one. You know, statistically, it's likely to be my brother or me based on our age, but stuff happens every day, you know, crazier stuff happens. So, will one of us end up being the last one or maybe not? And what does that mean? And I don't know, carrying those memories. You kind of like especially in my friend group, I feel like I'm sort of carrying the memory of my friends with me, and I'm still very close with their families, and you know, we spend a lot of time together. But even on our nights out when we're dancing and stuff, like we will like raise a glass and toast our friends who are no longer with us and remember the crazy moments and the ridiculous things we did and the laugh, and we just remember these things. And I don't know, I really don't know if I want to be the last one, you know, in any regard. Is it good to be the last one? um, my grandfather passed away last year, and he was very much the last one. He was the oldest in his generation, the oldest in our family, and we had lots of deep chats about sort of, you know, he felt as though he had like almost overlived his experience. He's like, oh, I'm too old now, boy. I can't be doing silly stuff now, and very much saw himself as sort of like a remnant of a bygone age. He was born in 1931, so you know, definitely different life experience than me or even my parents. So I don't know. I think he took a lot of joy and happiness out of his family, his grandkids, um, his friends, golfing buddies, that kind of thing. But there was definitely like a thing in him that was just like, you know what, like I'm good, I'm happy, you know, I can pop off whenever I need to, you know. um which is like an interesting concept, and we're told that, you know, you got to live life and enjoy it and embrace it, and you do. um but is there a point where you're just like, I'm good, you know? And this isn't a topic that is necessarily, um I don't know, it's definitely not a friendly topic on the interweb and things like that, and I'm not advocating for things that one might advocate for, but I'm just talking about philosophy and the way in which you live your life and how you want to live your life, and taking that concept and moving it to the more theoretical of, eventually there is the last one, you know, the last of this generation, the last of the baby boomers, the last of whatever. That will inevitably come, and humans really don't like dealing with the whole last of thing. um, you know, when we look at a species like a rhino population and there's only 3 of them left or whatever, we're really freaked out by that. Like, that's a really scary thing. It's like they are the last white rhinos, or I think it's the white rhinos, that there's just a few left. um, and it's like the end of an era, the end of a dynasty. And for whatever reason, humans don't like that. We're kind of freaked out by the end of a dynasty, the end of, you know, whatever. Even though the end of anything is a natural progression, you know, it's pretty normal for stuff to end. Everything ends. Um, so yeah, I'm just like, I'm thinking a lot more than I'm talking. I'm like trying to compile thoughts and come up with ideas, but I think largely this is going to be one that we're just going to have to talk about in the comments, because how do you put into words the idea of being the last one? And, do you lose sleep at night thinking about being the last one? So I don't know. If I live to 104 years old, I will see the year 2100. And with science and innovation, that's like 80 years away. With science and innovation going the way it is, it's likely that I could get to that age, if we keep, trucking along with our scientific advancements and human health. It's very possible that a lot of people will reach 104 years old. And so the idea that I have seen 3 different centuries of human existence is wild. That's crazy to think about. But at the same time, I don't know if I want that. I don't know if, I'm going to get to that age and go, yeah, I'm ready for more. Keep it coming, Maybe our experience is only meant to last 80 years. Maybe that's enough. Who knows? Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe if science and technology allows us to stay this young and fit forever, who knows? Maybe everybody's going to want to stay this young and just get into the hundreds of years old. But I don't know. I feel like the human soul can only withstand so much and experience so much joy and sorrow and difficulty and pleasure in one lifetime. But it's going to be an interesting thing. And I think, I truly believe that in my lifetime, as long as I eat my vegetables and, do my homework, I may get to see sort of the start of a very new way of life on this planet. So I don't know. It's very existential. I realize this is a very existential video. I don't mean to bring the mood or the vibe down, but just give it a thought. It's a funny concept, being the last of the generation, the last of your friend group or whatever. And maybe you don't look at it that way. Maybe you have a family. Maybe you're gonna start a family, and you'll have children or nieces or nephews or whoever in your life that are always going to be there, and hopefully, and they're always going to be there for you. So you're always going to have that connection, and you're never going to feel like you're the last one, which I think is lovely. I think it's lovely to be, surrounded by people you love. So yeah, guys, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I've never pretended to have the answers, but I'm sure going to enjoy the conversation on this video. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. If you're interested and you want to talk to me directly, you can go onto my Patreon. The link is in the bio. That way we can message daily. You can see updates of my life if you're so inclined. And like always, guys, I will always talk to you guys tomorrow.